What's up, guys? I'm Captain Mike, and welcome back to the Inside Scoop. Friday, September 5th, your legit Florida Keys offshore fishing report and so much more. Really liking these. You know, it gives me an opportunity to share a lot of different information with you, not only on what's hot and what's not, but a lot of other variables as well, a lot of other things that we're covering that are important to you as a recreational angler. Look, let's get into the weather, all right? For starters, let me tell you something. It's been wet, super wet. Every single day down here for, I don't know, the last week or so, it's just pouring. Yesterday, I traveled up to the Sea Hunter factory in Homestead and throughout the entire Keys, just pouring. So a lot of rain, everything's wet, and you can expect more of the same right ahead of us here, okay? Fortunately, we don't have a lot of wind to go with it. We're looking at 10 to 15 south-southwest. It's going to diminish to 5 to 10 by early next week. Variable. That means no wind, glass calm. South, little southeast, but it's going to be very calm. But still every day, the same chance for these thunderstorms. And look, I just heard a story very recently about a boat being hit by lightning off of Miami. It's no joke, okay? It's not a joke. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, but blew out a lot of equipment, and certainly a scary situation that you don't want to find yourself in. So just be very cautious of those storms. Make sure to monitor them. Look, technology today on our multifunction displays, we have downloadable weather, we have all sorts of weather sources. You have, of course, radar where we can track and pick up storms, more than 30 miles away, okay? So there's no excuse. You've got your phone with all sorts of apps on your phone. If you see a big storm headed your way, and what do I mean by big? Solid colors, okay? Not just that little green, okay? That's drizzle, don't worry about that. But when you start to see those full color blobs in the reds and the purples, look out. That's a dangerous situation, and find a way around it. Do whatever you can do to avoid going through it. And if you do, just make sure you batten down the hatches, put your antennas, your outriggers, low profile, and make your way through. You will come out the other side safe and sound, I promise you that. So that's what we could expect. Hot, humid, cloudy, a shot to go fishing every now and then in between that if you don't want to deal with those storms. And what are you going to find offshore? Because there haven't been a lot of guys fishing, the reports have been really way low as compared to usual. But certainly there's fish on the reef to catch. I'd say the most popular bite right now that I'm hearing across the Keys, especially here in the mid-Keys, is guys that are just loading up on bait, running out to the hump, spending a few hours offshore, catching a mix of dolphin, blackfin, some queen snapper, always a possibility down on the bottom there, and running back in, and doing well, catching, like I said, that assortment. It's always nice to have a mixed bag with a few blackfin tunas, some schoolie dolphin, maybe even some bottom fish to top it off. But be ready for everything. You don't know what you're going to encounter out there. It may be the tunas, it may be the dolphin. You've got to be ready for everything. It's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? Sword fishing further offshore continues to be fire. The guys that are putting in the time, they're catching fish, they're getting bit on, every trip. So it's really a reliable fishery, such an exciting fishery, and right here within reach. I can't stress how important it is that you really get dialed in before heading out and trying it on your own. This is one of those things where, yes, of course you want to go do it on your own and learn on your own, but I'm telling you, I promise you, I give you my word. Okay, you're gonna have a much better experience if you fish with someone who's really dialed in, who could show you the ropes. Kind of explain how to set up that boat positioning, how to deploy multiple lines, what to do, how to react with a bite, how to rig properly, how to adjust for different current situations, how to fight a fish properly, how much drag do you put on them, how to close the deal, harpooning, gaffing, boating fish. There's so much that goes into swordfish that it's just not the place to say, hey, let me go give this a whirl here on my own, okay? So, but once you do that with somebody, from there, the sky's the limit. But be careful, you may get hooked. All right, there's a lot of guys who go out there and they go sword fishing one time, and next thing you know, it's the only thing that you want to do because the challenge is so great and the reward is so great that it really is just this, I call it like a swordfish safari. That's, really what we do when we head offshore there. You're going into the unknown. There's other crazy creatures of the deep that you may come across, deep water sharks. There's makos and threshers and some other kind of weird sharks that I don't even know the name of them. And then, of course, you have escalars, and you may even hook a big-eyed tuna or a bluefin tuna on the bottom, or a blue marlin, okay? You just don't know. So really exciting. And then there's some exotic alien-like creatures like pomfrets and, beardfish and just weird stuff down there. So very, very cool, very exciting. If you'd like to learn more about our hands-on swordfish courses, just let us know and we'll fill you in on the details. Continuing, down the island chain toward Key West, that bite is always strong. The guys that are making it out to the dry Tortugas are doing well, and I've heard exceptional reports recently of Pulley Ridge, which is really exciting because, of course, that's a hike, that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but the rewards always pay off. I like to say Pulley Ridge is one of those places where when the bite is slow, it's still good. And when the bite is good, it's absolutely epic, and it's a great trip. And now's a great time to do it because it is so calm, so you don't have to deal with rough water. And as long as you can kind of meander your way around or avoid any storms that you may come across that may pop up, you're in good shape. So consider a Pulley Ridge trip, if you have the capabilities or the buddies, whatever. All of this kind of leads me to a topic that I wanted to cover today that has really been on my mind a lot in the past. It's almost always on my mind, certainly when I encounter all of these different groups that do our instructional fishing courses. And I question everybody, hey, of course, are you a boat owner? What kind of boat do you have? And it's always fascinating to learn about people's choices in boats and what boats they own and why they ended up in that boat. I think that's one of the most fascinating things of it all is how did they end up in that boat, whatever it is. And then, I asked them if you can change anything now, after the fact, knowing what you know, would this still be the boat that you're in? And the vast majority say no. Say no, it wouldn't be, okay? This is not the ideal platform for what I do based on how I do it. I thought it was, but it isn't. And that's like a common denominator, across the board. And I said, well, how did you end up in this, kind of predicament? A boat is a huge purchase, short of a home. It's number 2 right there, right? It's a huge purchase. So obviously it should be an important one, a vital one, that it's really made very, very well with educated and informative decisions. And a lot of these guys haven't had that. You see, they walked into potentially a boat show. They saw a boat show special. They walked, into a dealer or even a pre-owned boat. And no one really took the time to really spend with them and explain the odds and ends of all of these little nuances that you don't know if you don't know. There's an expression. It's kind of a funny expression. You don't know the things that you don't know. And I'm like, what? But obviously it took a while to understand that. And then that light bulb went off and I'm like, well, of course, obviously you don't know the things you don't know. But until you do something, you don't know what may pop up. Until you get on that boat and go out there and try and do what you want to do. And suddenly you realize, oh shit, this isn't the right platform for what I want to do. This isn't doing what I need it to do. Then you go, oh, okay, gosh, maybe I, could have made a better decision. This kind of universally applies. Flat skiffs, bay boats, hybrids, center consoles, the big offshore platforms. I think by the time you get to the sportfish class, it's a different level altogether, right? By the time you're willing, capable, able, whatever it is, to invest $5 to $15 million on this custom sportfish boat or production, don't get me started with that debate right now. Until that point, You know, that's a different class. There's a lot more knowledge about fishing and boating in that class of boat before somebody makes that decision. There are full crews, there are captains, and you know, it's just a different animal than you and I walking into a boat dealer and saying, hey, I really think that that 28-foot center console is the right boat for me. Or, hey, I believe that that 35 or whatever it may be, that cat is the right boat for me. Speaking of which, cat versus monohull, what's right for you? Are you still thinking about that? Are you still saying, hey, I'm in a monohull, but should I be in a cat? Why is everybody going cat? And the guys that are in the cats, are you in the right cat? And has it, you know, provided the benefits that you've expected from that transition of V-hull to catamaran? That's a whole other subject, right? Involved in this whole boating topic and this, you know, deciding or making those right decisions when it comes to boat selection. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but like I said, I want you to pick up what I'm throwing down here. I think the bottom line is information is power. That's what it boils down to. Information, really being able to make good, educated decisions, okay? And thinking about those decisions and really having somebody on your side that can steer you in the right direction, that you can lean on for advice, that you can lean on for, you know, a unbiased sort of comment. Do I really need that extra transducer? I'm just going to use that as an example. What are the benefits are going to be out of that additional B175? Or should I go low, medium, or medium high on the chirp transducers? Just things to that nature, right? Like, who's telling you the right answer? Who are you turning to for the right answer to those questions? You know, the questions that are going to make a big difference out on the water. A salesman by nature is a salesman, right? And of course, they want to sell product to you. That's what they do for a living. They do it well. They're very fair for the most part, very, you know, informative. They want you to have an exceptional experience. You're in their life forever, right? Trust me, you're going to have their number on speed dial on your phone. I promise you that. So, of course, they want you to have a great experience, but also at the end of the day, they have a job to do. You know, what I'd like to do, what I've decided is to really work very closely with my viewers. I've done this with a lot of guys in the past, and I want to do it with you as well. It's important to me, it really is. I want to work closely with you when it's time for you to either step up, purchase a new boat, considering purchasing a new boat, whatever it may be. Let's work together on it, okay? Let me really guide you and share good information with you. It's not about budget because budget is relative. There's a lot of great boats out there. You know, again, remember, this is an offshore related series. This is not about backcountry fishing, bay fishing, shallow water fishing. This is about fishing offshore. That's what the Inside Scoop is. And that's primarily what Florida Sport Fishing TV and Captain Mike's Rigging Station are all about. That's what our new Florida Keys Offshore Fishing Academy is all about. Listen to that word, offshore. So that's really what all of this is about. So if you're in that world for flat skiffs, bay boats, things to that nature, I'm not your cat. I can't help you in that arena. Certainly I've had a lot of experience, but that's not really my forte, my specialty, and there are other people that can help you. And we can make that connection for you. I'd be happy to. But on the offshore side, if you're one of those guys that are fishing for snapper, grouper, dolphin, wahoo, kingfish, sailfish, tilefish, swordfish, okay, tunas, and if you're kite fishing or deep dropping or trolling or jigging or sorting during the day, you know, whatever it is you're doing, I want to help you out, okay? I want to work closely with you. I want to hear why you're leaning toward a particular boat, particular model, what you're trying to get out of it. And look, it wouldn't hurt, right, to have another person's opinion. I have a lot of experience in boat building. I've built numerous boats working very closely with the manufacturer, not physically, obviously, but certainly involved in the design phase and the layout phase of all sorts of accessories and electronics and big game leashes and rod holders and everything, right? Outriggers. And I've had a lot of involvement throughout the entire process. I know how it works. Okay? I know what makes sense and what doesn't. There's a lot of things to guys who are out there that I've learned from my own clients where they've just made bad decisions because they didn't have the right information. So look, that's today's theme. That's what the Inside Scoop today, Friday, September 5th, is all about. We don't have a lot going on offshore simply because of the weather. It's not a huge transitional period. Everything's the same. It's hot, it's humid, there's no wind, and it's raining every day. Welcome to the Florida Keys, okay? Some parts of the Keys are gonna be washed out, others are gonna be wide open. Keep your eye on the weather, that's where we're at. You know what's going on offshore, there's scattered dolphin, mixed size fish, 600 to 800 is gonna be your starting point. Work your way even further offshore. Don't hesitate this time of the year going way over the edge, 2,000 to 3,000 feet of water, okay? 2,000 to 3,000 feet of water. Listen to what I'm saying to you, hint. And if you're looking for some bigger fish, don't hesitate running way out there when conditions allow you to do so, okay? Like I said, the tunas are very reliable on the humps for the guys that are live bait fishing. Closer to shore, there's always something to catch on the reef if you find good conditions. The wreck fishing, if you're dialed in, dropping prime baits to the bottom on long leaders can always get you a couple of muttons. Who knows what else is gonna pop in? An African pompano may eat a bait. A big margate may eat a bait. Be ready for them all. Always, always check your leaders for frays and nicks. Don't be that guy that allows angler failure to enter the equation. Don't let it happen. Don't lose fish because of something that could have been avoided that you could have fixed, okay? Check your drags often. Fish fresh line. These are fundamentals, but I'm telling you what, I'm gonna drive them into you because that's what's gonna help you become a more successful angler, okay? So that's the big picture of what's going on the offshore side of the Keys right now. But the lesson to take away from all of this is about the boating decisions, all right? It's about making educated decisions. Not every, buying a new boat is an incredibly exciting, but an incredibly nerve-wracking experience, right, for most people. You're typically buying something that depreciates in value right out of the gate, so it's not a family heirloom that you're investing in or property that appreciates or anything like that. So you gotta kind of take that into consideration, but it's so exciting because you're getting a new boat, right? And it really is that picture perfect of what you believe it should be. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. What is that boat? Is it a V-hull? Is it a cat? What are the different characteristics of the cats versus the V-hulls? What size boat do you need? Should it be a hybrid type platform where you can fish inshore and offshore? Should it be more of a deep V where even if it's a smaller profile, you could fish deeper water in rougher conditions? So many different options out there, okay? And I want to also, just for a second, jump back on that cat subject. Boy, cats have come a long way, right? Just a few short years ago, it seemed like no one was even talking about cats. Today, they're the cream of the crop, okay? Today, if you're you're in a cat. If you've got a job to do and the conditions can't get in your way, you're in a cat. So there's so much to be said about them, but it's a different boat than a V-hull. Fortunately, technology is advancing at such a rapid rate where it's now, also making that whole cat ownership of a catamaran that much better. Quick example, we are currently retrofitting our Sea Hunter 41 CTS with a Seakeeper ride system, okay? Right now, as we speak, there are guys that are underneath my boat, scraping fiberglass, installing Seakeeper controllers, whatever it is they're doing right now, but it's happening right now. What does this do? Well, historically or normally, a cat is like two boats that are connected together, right? And obviously you're gonna have some movement there, and a good helmsman will use some trim tab, will use engine trim to really provide the best ride possible in any given condition. And for a catamaran, there are particular conditions that the boat really enjoys more and runs better in than other conditions that require a little bit more skilled seamanship. okay, to get dialed in. Well, the Seakeeper ride takes all of that away, all of it, and automatically adjust the 2 controllers, or depending on what particular model, you may have up to 4 controllers that act as, I'm gonna make it very simple to understand, just a very automatic trim tab. It's adjusting 100 times a second, and it's always finding the 0 point of the boat. And what that means is at the end of the day, you get an incredibly smoother ride. And you may be saying right out of the gate, hey, I've heard about Seakeeper for a long time. What are you talking about? Seakeeper is a big gyro. That's right, it's a different animal altogether. That's not what I said. I said a Seakeeper ride. Different system. Seakeeper gyro designed for when a boat is really sitting still, to eliminate a lot of that rock and rolling with a big gyro, okay? Seakeeper ride is designed for when the boat's on the move. It's gotta be moving 10 miles an hour for it to really even activate. There it is, right there, perfect example. 2 particular items that are somewhat similar name, but did anybody ever break it down for you and just simply explain to you what the differences are of the 2 and why they're important to you, or are they important to you to have on your boat? That's one of the examples that I'm talking about earlier when I said, hey, it's nice to have someone on your side educating you so you can make all of those right decisions in your purchasing decisions. So I'm gonna wrap this up with that. Look, I'm here for you as a member of Florida Sport Fishing TV Plus. You've got a 24/7 fishing helpline, exclusive content, different membership tiers, including our elite membership, which includes you fishing with me aboard our 41 Sea Hunter on a 6-hour wahoo course this winter. So a lot of different options, but more importantly is that 24/7 fishing helpline, which includes all of the information on the boating. Let's connect. Let me know if you're interested in a boat, okay? And let's just spend some time. Look, this is a free service that I'm offering my viewers, okay? It's not about an upsell. It's not charging you anything. It's a complimentary service that I'm offering viewers and fans of Florida Sport Fishing TV because I want you to make the right boating decisions, the right fishing decisions. I want you to be more successful on the water. That's how we all grow together. My contact information is down below. You know how to get a hold of me. Until then, look, when the window's open, the sky's clear, get out there, catch them up. Put some time in on the water, okay? It's a slow time of the year overall. Kids are just going back to school. There's a lot of businesses in the Keys here that pull the plug for the entire month of September. They're gone, they're on vacay, all right? So don't expect a busy season, which is good because now you can get discounts on rooms if you're traveling down here at Capt and Pips. They offer the best rates of the year, boat rentals, everything that you need. So get on down here and look, I look forward to seeing you out there on the water. And let's get you the right boat. Make the right decisions, okay? For the love of God, put your ego aside if you have one and say, hey, look, let's work this out. Let's talk about this and make sure that we get the right platform so we can go out there and maximize our time on the water. So plus I want to come fishing with you. Let's go. Let's do this.